Is it time for coaching IQ or coaches IQ, Caleb, where you get to make fun of an incredibly brilliant group of people that I think are college football coaches? And I don't like the fact that you two seemingly like to make fun of them because there's a lot of pressure on them. It's not as if they're financially independent for life. So, Caleb, let's get to our coaching IQ question, and we will determine some coaches that that might not be the brightest. And we'll go ahead and get to that right now, Caleb.
You suck.
All right, Caleb, who's number one?
I actually had a lot of fun this weekend because there was just so many mistakes. I had to cut a few out. So I'm going to give an honorable mention to Fran Brown in Syracuse, who on a 4th and 9 decided to do a 3-man rush with 3 spies at linebacker and then single cover all the receivers on the outside.
Yeah, that's good.
The CIA would approve of the spies, but nothing else was good.
Yeah. Okay. So, all right. So we'll start with the former Tennessee defensive coordinator, Justin Wilcox. If y'all watched that Cal-Florida State game over the weekend, they were in the red zone. It was 14-9. There was a minute left, and Cal gets sacked. A 4th and 16 comes up, and Justin Wilcox burns one of his 3 timeouts to talk about the 4th and 16. So when they don't get the 4th down, Florida State's able to run out the clock.
You suck, you jackass.
John, thoughts?
Yeah, I was just wondering if maybe we ought to come up with a deserved punishment, depending on the severity of the stupidity. I mean, is waterboarding appropriate for Justin Wilcox, or should we hang him from the ceiling? What? I don't know. I'm just thinking.
Probably firing eventually.
How about fire, prison, or death penalty?
Wow. Seems strong. John?
Ooh. I really hate the idea of getting my skin burned. Fire. What? Say those again.
No, I mean, should they just be fired? Should they go to prison, or should they get the death penalty?
Firing. You got to torture before you fire because you're giving them $20 million. I mean, so no, that goes without saying. They need to be tortured, but I just trying to think of how much.
All right, Caleb, who's next?
All right, so this is one of my favorite ones. Matt Rule at Nebraska, who I actually think is good at running a program and not bad schematically, but I swear his in-game decisions are just hilariously bad. Against Illinois over the weekend on a Friday night, guys, y'all missed this, but Nebraska had the chance to get the ball back with a chance to get a game-winning field goal. But Matt Rule let Illinois run 20 seconds off the clock and then called a timeout to wait to get the ball back.
Oh,
that's crazy.
Yeah, that is crazy. Yeah. And you know what? That's something that I see so often. It's like the coaches say, oh my gosh. I mean, that should be the Les Miles Memorial Trophy should go to mistakes like that. And it's funny you say that because Blake Totmeyer, my colleague on our SEC Unfiltered podcast, and I were talking about the Florida job. And I thought Matt Rule is somebody I would consider for the Florida job when they get around to firing Billy Napier. I think he's done a really nice job everywhere he's been in college. But after what you were saying, Blake texted me and said, "How about Bielema for the Florida job?"
What is he up to nowadays?
Illinois. He's in Illinois.
He's coaching Illinois. He's got an unbeaten team.
Yeah,
I know. And I'm telling you, man, if you look across the sidelines and you're getting out coached by Brett Bielema, you suck.
You suck. Yeah,
So I got
Don't we all think that Lane Kiffin's getting that job, John?
Yeah, it's an obvious choice, but maybe Lane will just say no.
All right, Caleb.
All right, so we got to go to Mike Gundy, and I saw some 2005 former Randy Sanders level of quarterback management on Saturday, where Mike Gundy, his quarterback who started all last year and started all throughout this year so far, Alan Bowman, because of one bad half, he benched him against Utah, and he brought in this guy, Garrett Rangel, threw 11 passes with him over 3 drives, and then brought Bowman back into the game to the end. And I'm thinking, and now Bowman actually brought him back, and they almost won. I'm like, maybe if you had kept Bowman in for those 3 drives, you could have actually won the game against Utah.
Garrett Rangel.
Yeah, I would have a problem bringing him in because of his name. I don't know anything about his ability. But, see, I look at that the other way, though, Caleb. I'm watching that Notre Dame, Texas A&M game when Mike Elko just kept trotting Connor Wegman out there series after series, one horrible pass after another. I'm kind of on Gundy's side on this one. I'm not going to go just let this quarterback drive me to defeat. I'm going to at least try something different because they were losing that game. So,
but Alan Bowman wasn't really the reason they were losing that game. It's because they couldn't run the ball. And Alan Bowman wasn't like Connor Wegman, who had barely started. He had played well all of last year. And I don't know. It was just, I don't think you bench a quarterback in the middle of the game just to bring him back in later.
Okay.
Well, I think.
Go ahead, John.
Well, Oklahoma, I thought, gave up on Josh Heupel in the Tennessee game. I could understand why. It didn't bring him back in, but it stuck with the freshman. So that's kind of a tough call. Sometimes, Caleb, I think you so enjoy criticizing coaches that you probably overextend yourself and you're just such a harsh critic. I don't want to sympathize with coaches. God knows I don't want to sympathize with them, but I think you were maybe a little harsh on Gundy on that one.
Okay, set the poll question. Does Caleb hold secret disdain for college football coaches?
Mike Gundy is a man, guys.
Well, you bring that up, and because of that speech, I hold Mike Gundy in such high esteem that whatever frailties he might have on the sidelines, I still think, man, that was an awesome speech. I'm 40. I'm a man.
Hey, let's hit one closer to home, if you don't mind. I thought that pulling Jackson Arnold when they did was absolutely idiotic. And I can't believe that hasn't been a bigger topic of conversation. Maybe it is in Norman, but that certainly helped Tennessee. First of all, what's he supposed to do when they call that bizarro throw out and to his left that ended up being ruled a lateral that wasn't a lateral, in my opinion, that should have been an incomplete pass. I just think you come into that game either planning to start. Is it Michael Jenkins? Michael
Hawkins.
Michael Hawkins is a
you either come into that game planning to start Michael Hawkins, you have a package for him or something, but in the middle of such a big game to pull Jackson Arnold that early, and Hawkins may be their future, John, but I got to give him Brent Venables a big.
You suck. Yes.
I thought that was horrible.
Well,
am I the only one that thinks that was terrible?
Well, I watched Oklahoma in its other games, and Jackson Arnold was making mistakes. He wasn't protecting the football well, and I think that's what scared Oklahoma to death. Plus, Jackson Arnold, though, in his other games, his running ability had saved him behind that porous offensive line. And I think Brent Venables realized, yeah, he's a good runner. He can scramble, but not against these guys. That defensive front is just too menacing. He can't get away from those guys. Michael Hawkins, maybe he can, and he did do a better job. So I don't fault him for that. I did think when he brought him into the game was odd, the situation when he brought him in.
It looked like to me a very good coordinator that was ready to be a head coach, or may never be ready to be a head coach. But that was my take. If I were Oklahoma's administration, I'd be in serious concern because that looked like a knee-jerk decision.
Well, I'm sure Oklahoma fans aren't thinking that.
John,
we got 2 more, and then we only got 1 more of these left.
You suck.
So let's pick between the 2. Give John both of them, and John, you choose who gets the Les Miles Award for dumbest coaching move.
Okay, so one was Lincoln Riley at USC at Michigan. They're holding a 24-20 lead. Michigan has only thrown for 32 yards in the game, and USC has a running back averaging 7.5 yards a carry, and he throws it twice when they have the ball up with less than 4 minutes to go. That was ridiculous. And the other one is obviously number one for me is Dave Aranda's defense. How do you give up 2 Hail Marys? I mean, that's just insane.
In a season or a career.
Back-to-back plays.
Much less in a game. I'm just going to go ahead and steal that from you, John. He gets it.
You suck.
I mean, there are coaches that haven't given up, that have coached 20 years and haven't given up 2 Hail Marys in their
back-to-back plays.
Yeah.
Baylor, admittedly, as much college football as I watched, I have not watched Dave Aranda's Baylor Bears. What game was that, Caleb? I need to see that.
Colorado, Deion Sanders, Coach Prime, they won. And it was one of those where if it was the final play, and on a final play, you either drop everybody back or you bring the house, right? One of the two. He rushed 5, and I'm like, why are you rushing 5? Like, either rush like 8 or drop 10 back, but don't rush 5.
Yeah, no.
Jeez, that's sad.
John's appearance brought to you by Newbert Collision Center. John, anything else you would like to add?
Yeah, probably in retrospect, I should probably apologize to Caleb for saying he was too harsh on a coach. That kind of goes against my inner critic. I've been accused of that in the past. So no, I apologize, Caleb. You go ahead and just bring the hammer whenever you want to whomever you want.
There's a poll question up. Does Caleb have too much disdain for coaches? 55% are saying no right now, but 45% say yes. I do have too much disdain, apparently.
Yeah, Deion said
no. No, you don't. No.
Yeah, speaking of dumb coaches, Deion said that the media is now jealous of athletes because they're making all of that money, and that's affecting the way that they cover that team. John, there's a million reasons why that's absurd, but listen, if you're a jealous type of person, wouldn't you just be jealous that you lost the gene lottery and that you're not an elite athlete? I mean, that's enough to me, and then I've got the work ethic to take advantage of it. I mean, if you're jealous of athletes now because they made money, you should have been jealous of athletes years ago when they were superstars that didn't make money.
Well, I'm sure Deion is probably jealous of guys who can really coach.
Wow.
Yeah. You know what's going to happen? The Cowboys are tanking, and they're going to hire Deion and draft his son, Shedeur. Yeah. I know. I don't want it to happen. I'm just telling you, that's what's going to happen.
Then there needs to be an intervention with Jerry Jones. Family needs to gather around him.
What, a senility intervention? Can you do that? Is that allowed by law?
I hope not. Melinda might be thinking along those lines.
Well, speaking of intelligence, did y'all see Barry Switzer featured in Saturday's game? And of course, Barry Switzer was eating a burger.
I know, just like he was eating a hot dog on the sidelines of the Pro Bowl. I'm like, come on. I mean, come on.
I like Barry Switzer, man.
I don't.